The DUDIOS Shuttles and the SoundLiberty 53s. Is there a difference? Should you get one over the other? Well, let's go ahead and find out. But first, I do want to mention that both of these were sent by the respective companies, and when it comes to the DUDIOS, they have actually told me upfront that these are pretty much a clone of the TaoTronics. And really, I knew these were a clone when I looked at the product page, and so there's no surprises there. But what is surprising is the actual shape of the shells and the actual earbuds. They're not a complete rebrand. They didn't just put a logo on the front and call it a day. They actually had made some differences here in terms of the looks. So with that being said, before we go ahead and do anything, let's go ahead and take a look at the differences. Starting off with the actual charging cases. The first thing you'll notice, of course, is the logo, but that's not it, because these things are actually completely different, well, kind of, when it comes to the actual design. First of all, as you can see, the TaoTronics here has more of a pebble kind of design. It's nicely smoothed out, and it feels really nice in the hand. But the DUDIOS, on the other hand, has more of a sharper look, and as you can see, there is a difference. But when it comes to the actual functional hardware, they are pretty much the exact same in every aspect. Same charging ports, and the same 4 LED indicators. Now, what's also the same is the actual hinge. If you guys remember in my TaoTronics video, the hinge here is kind of floppy. It doesn't have any locks. When you open it up, it just kind of flops and locks into place. Now, the magnetic locking mechanism is nice, but it is still very, very floppy. And really, that's the same for the DUDIOS. Nothing has changed here. And a quick look inside will reveal a similar setup, similar layout, except the TaoTronics has more slots on the inside, while the DUDIOS went for a bigger type of pad on the inner side of the top cover. And the last thing to take a look at here would be the actual earbuds. As you can see, they are actually quite different in terms of the top cover, but that's really about it. Once again, the TaoTronics has more of a smoother look, while the DUDIOS has more of a sharper edge. And surprisingly, the LEDs here are slightly different as well in color tone, and that's really about it. When it comes to the actual backside, they're pretty much the exact same. Now let's go ahead and actually talk about the audio quality of the DUDIOS, which is again the same as the TaoTronics. How is it? How's the performance? How's the battery life? And how is the delay? Well, if you have watched the TaoTronics, you would know how they are, but if you want a quick refresher, here is the deal here. But first, let's go and actually put them on and show you guys what they look like. So the first thing that will actually come to mind is how well do they seal your ears? Well, I have to say they do a pretty decent job. These things are using silicone ear tips, and at this point, everyone should have a relatively good idea of how well these type of ear tips would actually seal your ear. When I put these on, when I'm speaking, my own voice becomes very muffled. So hopefully that gives you a pretty good idea of what that's like. And if you're worried about sound leaking, well, don't worry about it. I don't think anyone's going to hear it unless you are maxing out the volume, which I would say the optimal volume for these things would be around 70%. If you do have it on 100%, the audio quality will come on the ear piercing side. That being said, how is the audio quality? These are not going to give you insane bass, but whatever bass it gives you, it's actually very, very clean. And the same thing goes for the mids, they're pretty clean as well. But when it comes to the trebles or the highs, I would say they're more on the brighter side. If you're someone who doesn't like trebles, then you may not like these, like me. But surprisingly, after half an hour of use, I actually got used to it, and that's all thanks to the actual audio quality. The audio that you're getting from these things is very clean, and surprisingly sounds pretty great for the price. Again, we have reviewed the TaoTronics before, and they were pretty much fantastic. And if you're the type of person on the bus who likes to have their volume at 100% and have everyone listening to what you're listening, well, these things are going to do a pretty decent job when it comes to the passive noise suppression of the actual silicone tips. Now, speaking of the bus, how do these look? Well, I have to say they do look pretty okay. I mean, at this point, everyone has Tic Tacs in their ears, so what's wrong with a little bit of black licorice? Now, speaking of using these on the go, how is the battery life? Well, the battery life here is pretty much the same on both of them, which is around 40 hours in total use. By total use, I mean actually putting them back in the charging case and charging them as you go about your day. The earbuds themselves will actually provide you with around 4 to 5 hours of listening, and the charging case itself, which again, the case here has a built-in battery that will charge up your earbuds, in total, it will give you around 40 hours of use, which honestly is plenty. And especially for the 4 to 5 hours, I mean, throughout your day, you're probably going to be taking them off and putting them back in the case every now and then, which will charge them back up and you'll be good to go. Charging time for the case itself takes about 2 to 2.5 hours, and charging the earbuds themselves inside the case might be around an hour and a half or so. I'm not exactly sure, but that's what I would imagine for tiny batteries like these. But again, as you put them back in the case, they'll automatically charge, and it'll be something that you won't even have to think about. And really, the only time you'll actually think about charging these would be at the end of the week, which is when you charge the charging case itself. And the last thing to talk about here would have to be the microphone quality. The microphone quality here is actually really good. It's good enough for phone calls, but not good enough for voice chat. I mean, voice chat, you could use it, but really, it's not going to sound very great. So if you want to use it on Discord, probably stay away from it if you want to use the microphone for it. In fact, when it comes to watching videos, these things don't have any delay, or it's very, very slight. You're not going to have any lip syncing issues, and everything should be K-OK. And if you're wondering, no, it does not have any hiss. It's very minimal, and it only lasts about a second. I don't like the type of hiss you would hear when there's nothing playing for that one slight second, but yeah, here it's very under control and you won't even have an issue with it. And other than that, guys, that was actually pretty much it. There's not a whole lot to talk about. These things are pretty great, but the question is, should you get one over the other? It will all depend on you and the price that you can get it at. The DUDIOS have a slightly different look. If you like how the DUDIOS look, then get the DUDIOS. If you like the TaoTronics and get the TaoTronics. But again, it will all come down to the price, which is very important. The TaoTronics are always on sale, and you can easily find them on Amazon.ca or .com. The DUDIOS, on the other hand, I have just checked, and it's a bit on the staggered end. So the updated prices will be in the description down below, and you'll see the current price for each of them. And other than that, that is actually pretty much it for this video. So thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, hopefully hit the like button and subscribe for content like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everyone.